What if the Earth isn't just shaking for geological reasons, but because it's trying to speak? A massive coronal hole has opened once again on the Earth-facing side of the Sun, its 8th return. Last time this happened, the planet experienced powerful seismic tremors, including a magnitude 7.7 in Myanmar. Scientists see patterns. But beyond the physical, there is something spiritual happening. These solar emissions may be encoded messages meant to awaken our consciousness. This isn't about fear, it's about recognition. The planet is shifting, and those who are listening with the soul, not just the mind, will understand what's really unfolding now. Why coronal holes open? When humanity needs truth, there are patterns within nature that far exceed what science can measure. A coronal hole is not just a dark spot on the Sun, it's a moment of energetic release. These dark patches are portals where magnetic energy pours out at high velocity, directed straight at Earth. Interestingly, such phenomena tend to repeat when humanity reaches moments of inner pressure, times when truth is being denied or deeply buried. These are not coincidences, they are cosmic corrections. The Sun responds not only to physics, but to the collective consciousness of the planet it warms. In ancient times, mystics believed that the Sun was a conscious being, watchful and reactive. They taught that solar flares and wind streams weren't random storms, but divine feedback loops, echoing back the energy of humanity. When people are asleep to deeper truths, when spiritual blindness becomes global, the Sun reacts. These coronal holes open as cracks in illusion, offering encoded light to stir awakening. These aren't just solar events, they're soul events. The timing is too precise to ignore. It's as if the universe speaks when we refuse to listen. Each solar hole acts like a cosmic exhale, breathing high-speed particles into Earth's magnetic shield. But what few realize is this, that energy doesn't just affect the planet, it influences our thoughts, emotions, and spiritual alignment. When these streams hit, many report vivid dreams, nervous agitation, or spiritual downloads. These are not side effects, they are spiritual nudges. The Earth is not just receiving particles, it's receiving a prompt. And each person on the planet feels this prompt in a different way, depending on their own level of awareness. Humanity stands at a crossroads. And historically, every great awakening was preceded by global pressure, physical, emotional, and energetic. When coronal holes open repeatedly, it's as though the Sun is saying, "There's more to see, look deeper." The Myanmar earthquake wasn't just seismic, it was symbolic. Truth buried deep in Earth often parallels truth buried in our personal lives. These planetary pulses urge us to face what's hidden within. It's not a curse, it's a mirror. And those with spiritual ears can hear the invitation clearly. Awaken, realign, remember. So when this 8th rotation returns with a familiar wound across the Sun's surface, we must pause and ask, what collective truth are we avoiding? What inner quake is building within the hearts of humanity? Because when the Earth rumbles, it's not just tectonic, it's prophetic. Each tremor is a sacred question. Will you continue to sleep through the signals, or will you rise with them and see what lies behind the veil? Solar winds are not random. They carry codes. Solar winds are often described in scientific terms as streams of charged particles that escape from coronal holes and journey toward Earth. But that's only part of the truth. On a spiritual level, these winds are information bearers. They are not chaotic gusts of space weather. They are structured waves, encoded with frequencies, patterns, and triggers, designed to interact with human consciousness. They speak to the soul the way a divine whisper cuts through silence. Every solar wind stream carries energetic imprints, vibrations that influence how we think, feel, and respond to the world. Just like sound waves can uplift or disturb, solar waves affect our inner state of harmony. Those attuned to subtle energies often feel these cosmic currents before they even arrive, through sudden emotional shifts, pressure in the head, sleep disturbances, or a sense of anticipation. These are not symptoms to ignore. They are signs that your spiritual antenna is picking up a transmission. Indigenous wisdom keepers knew this long ago. In their teachings, the wind, both earthly and cosmic, was considered sacred. It was the voice of the ancestors, the breath of the gods, the teacher of secrets. Today, as these high-speed solar winds intensify, we are being asked to remember everything in nature, especially from the sun, carries intention. These are not blind forces of nature. They are orchestrated movements of divine architecture, built to shift the unseen layers of human reality. One of the most striking effects of these solar codes is the way they awaken memory. Not memory of events, but memory of essence. People begin to recall who they truly are beyond labels and roles. Some experience profound inner clarity, while others feel a shaking of false beliefs. That's how light works. It reveals. And when the solar winds arrive encoded with such brilliance, they remove the blindfolds we've worn for far too long. So next time you hear that a solar wind is headed toward Earth, don't just think about auroras or geomagnetic storms. Think about what it's trying to unlock in you. Think of it as a sacred telegram from the stars, delivered through fire, carried by light, aimed at the heart of your spirit. It's not just weather. It's a wake-up call coded in plasma. M9+ earthquakes as a mirror of collective pressure. When the Earth cracks open, it isn't always because of physical stress. It's also because of spiritual suppression. A megathrust earthquake, like an M9+, is not just a shift in tectonic plates. It's the planet's deepest breath, a purge of built-up energy too long ignored. If you listen with spiritual ears, you can hear the Earth saying, "This burden is too much, I must release." And more often than not, it echoes what humanity refuses to face emotionally and energetically. The collective human field is saturated with anxiety, unspoken truths, suppressed grief, and the illusion of separation. These energies don't vanish into thin air. They accumulate in the Earth's energetic body, just as unspoken trauma lodges in our own. When the collective consciousness reaches a tipping point, the Earth mirrors that through physical upheaval. The bigger the internal denial of truth on a mass scale, the stronger the outward quake that breaks the silence. Science tracks fault lines. Spirit tracks soul lines. What fault lines are we crossing spiritually? What collective truths are being ignored or manipulated by those in power? What lies have been buried so deep that only a planetary roar can bring them to light? These are not philosophical questions. They are energetic laws. As above, so below. As within, so without. Earthquakes are not always disasters. They are disclosures. Some people feel panic when they hear about megathrust quakes. But from a higher vantage point, such tremors are actually clearing pathways. They collapse the false to make room for the true. They unearth what's been buried beneath civilization's noise. The ancient Earth is not punishing us. It is realigning with natural law. The pain comes not from the Earth's movement, but from our resistance to its rhythm. If we wish to live in harmony, we must stop seeing earthquakes as curses and start seeing them as clarion calls. Each one asks us, what collective truth are we hiding from? And how long can we delay facing it before the planet does it for us? M9+ earthquakes aren't just about the Earth. They're about the pressure humanity places on the truth, the sun's 8th rotation and the sacred spiral. This is not the first time this coronal hole has returned, it's the 8th time. And that number is not insignificant. In sacred numerology, the number 8 symbolizes infinity, balance, and karmic completion. When something returns for the 8th time, it's not a cycle anymore, it's a spiral. And spirals are sacred forms. They represent evolution, not repetition. So this isn't just another solar rotation. It's an echo from eternity, asking us, will you rise or repeat? Many spiritual traditions teach that the universe doesn't move in straight lines or circles. It evolves in spirals. Every loop brings us closer to a deeper truth. The sun's repeated display of this coronal hole, each time during moments of planetary unrest, suggests a cosmic teaching unfolding. The solar system, like the human soul, is designed to grow in spirals. The 8th turn is often a turning point, a moment of potential transcendence or collapse, depending on our alignment. Interestingly, 8 is also the number of resurrection and regeneration in several sacred texts. It represents a new octave, a new frequency beyond the known. When this coronal hole appears for the 8th time, it's not simply recycling energy. It is amplifying it, bringing back the same message, louder and more urgent. The question is, have we learned anything from the past 7 echoes? If you've been feeling déjà vu lately, like the same patterns are playing out in your personal life, in global politics, or in collective consciousness, it may be because we are standing at the same gate for the 8th time, being asked to finally walk through it. The spiral doesn't trap us, it tests us. The lesson will repeat until the frequency within us changes enough to ascend to the next ring of truth. So what do we do when the spiral tightens? We must step inward, not outward. We must ask, what am I still resisting? What cycle am I clinging to? The 8th rotation isn't a threat, it's a sacred invitation, a portal disguised as a pattern. The spiral doesn't demand perfection, it simply asks for awakening. Myanmar's March 28th. Burst, a warning or a beacon? The seismic burst in Myanmar on March 28th wasn't just a news headline, it was a spiritual announcement. It struck at a time when the sun's energy was directly influencing Earth. But more than that, it struck a spiritual nerve. Myanmar, a land of ancient spiritual lineage and quiet suffering, became the ground zero of a message. When silence becomes unbearable, the earth will speak. This earthquake wasn't isolated. It was part of a global ripple, a pulse of energy flowing through the earth's crust and our collective psyche. The date wasn't random. In the spiritual calendar, late March aligns with the equinox energies, times of balance and reset, and that's what this quake did. It didn't just shake land, it shook illusions. It cracked open the ground beneath belief systems and sent a tremor through old paradigms. Myanmar, with its history of monasteries and mysticism, sits on ancient ley lines, energetic highways that carry spiritual information across the planet. When an earthquake strikes such a place, it's not only about geology, it's about sacred activation. Energy stored in stone, soil, and silence gets released. And those who are awake enough to feel it often report a sudden shift in intuition, insight, or inner knowing. That's no accident, that's resonance. Was this a warning of more destruction to come? Or was it a beacon signaling that transformation is now unavoidable? The answer depends on perspective. From the ego's view, it was terrifying. From the soul's view, it was clarifying. Earthquakes break what's brittle so that what's alive can breathe. Myanmar didn't just break, it opened. And through that opening, a signal went out. Awaken, because time is no longer waiting. So if you're watching this video now, maybe it's not by chance. Maybe you felt something that day. Maybe your spirit registered the tremor, even if your body didn't. And if so, take it seriously. Not as a doom prophecy, but as a soul prophecy. One that says, when the earth moves, so must you. The geoaffective stream. What happens to human consciousness? When solar winds from coronal holes directly face Earth and become geoaffective, they don't just stir magnetic fields, they touch the human field too. Our bodies, especially our brains and hearts, are electromagnetic instruments constantly syncing with solar energy. As the solar stream becomes geoaffective, it doesn't only affect satellites or weather, it affects your perception, memory, and even emotional range. You may not feel it like a breeze, but you are feeling it. There are moments during solar storms when people report bursts of creativity, anxiety, insomnia, or deep spiritual insight. These aren't random reactions, they're electromagnetic entrainments. Your consciousness begins to vibrate with the external field, and if you're in tune, it can feel like a spiritual download. But if you're misaligned or overwhelmed, it may feel like mental chaos. The difference lies in how grounded and clear your internal channel is when the energy hits. Some spiritual practitioners say that geoaffective solar winds act like cosmic tuning forks, shaking loose anything within you that's out of resonance. Old memories, buried fears, unresolved thoughts, they all rise to the surface, not to punish you, but to clear you. During these solar windows, deep meditation can become supercharged, dreams may become prophetic, and even unresolved traumas may finally release, but only if you allow them to surface consciously. The real message is this: when energy flows from the sun, Earth doesn't just react, you do too. And when these streams are direct, they become an invitation to rise above the noise, attune to your higher self, and shed everything that no longer serves your soul's ascension. Geoaffective doesn't mean dangerous, it means activated. And if you're awake, you'll use the moment not to fear the flare, but to welcome the frequency. Earthquakes as planetary detox events. Just as the human body releases toxins during healing, the Earth also undergoes moments of deep release. Earthquakes, in their most sacred sense, are detox events, not merely geological accidents. They occur when the energetic body of the Earth becomes saturated with pressure, density, and misalignment. Think of them as planetary acupuncture points being pressed, forcing old stuck energy to break apart and flow again. These seismic detoxes often follow prolonged human periods of emotional repression, conflict, or widespread spiritual disconnection. When energy builds up, both literally in rock strata and energetically in the collective unconscious, it must find a release valve. Earthquakes shake loose not only sediment and stone, but also the fear-based structures we've layered on top of natural truth. The destruction, while painful, can also be deeply cleansing. From a spiritual lens, the Earth is a living, breathing consciousness. And just like we feel better after a release, be it tears, words, or energy, the Earth too feels relief. After major earthquakes, many spiritually sensitive people report a strange peace in the air, as if the Earth has sighed. It's not morbid, it's honest. The shaking isn't wrath, it's renewal. We just haven't been taught to read it that way. Rather than asking, why did this happen to us? We should be asking, what truth is being released through this? When the ground moves, it also moves what we've hidden inside. That's why earthquakes often change more than landscapes. They change lives, perspectives, and paradigms. The real question is whether we're willing to detox our consciousness before the Earth has to do it for us. Are you grounded or just surviving? There's a difference between surviving the storm and being truly grounded through it. Many people move through life in survival mode, operating from reaction, fear, and routine. But when cosmic energy ramps up, survival mode becomes unstable. Grounding isn't just about standing barefoot on Earth. It's about anchoring your energy, your awareness, and your truth into something unshakable within you, no matter what moves outside. Spiritual grounding is the art of being centered in presence, not paralyzed by pressure. When solar storms or seismic events shake the surface, the ungrounded mind panics, while the grounded soul listens. This isn't about denying the danger, it's about refusing to be owned by it. In times of cosmic intensity, grounding becomes your spiritual seatbelt. It doesn't stop the motion, but it keeps you from being flung by it. Simple grounding practices, breathwork, slow movement, tree visualization, intentional stillness, are more than calming tools. They're energetic alignments. They allow your nervous system to entrain with the core of the earth, not the chaos around it. When you are grounded, you become like the mountain, not because you never tremble, but because your roots go deeper than the quake. So ask yourself, are you living rooted in divine truth, or just floating in survival responses? When the earth shakes, do you collapse, or do you align more strongly with your inner axis? The next time solar winds rise or the earth shifts beneath your feet, remember, you are not here just to survive the change. You are here to transmute it. Vibrational synchronization between sun, earth, and soul. There is an invisible thread connecting the sun, the earth, and your soul. A vibrational trinity that most never learn to tune into. When one of these elements shifts, the others must respond. This is why solar storms don't just create weather, they create awakenings. And earthquakes don't just move soil, they move soul. Everything is connected through frequency, and your body is the instrument receiving it. When the sun pulses energy, the Earth's electromagnetic field adjusts, but so does the human heart. The Schumann resonance, Earth's natural frequency, has been recorded fluctuating wildly during solar events. And since your heart has its own electromagnetic field, you are not separate from this dance. When the sun flares, your own inner fire reacts. When the earth groans, your intuition may speak louder. Mystics say we live inside a symphony of vibration, and the sun and earth are just two great instruments in that orchestra. You, the human, are the conscious listener. When you learn to attune yourself, not through logic, but through resonance, you begin to live in harmony with cosmic truth. You stop seeing natural events as accidents and start reading them as messages. This synchronization is not a mystical idea, it's a spiritual necessity. In a time when solar activity is intensifying and Earth's crust is restless, aligning your vibration with higher frequencies is protection and preparation in one. To synchronize means to listen, to still your ego, and to let the universe play through you instead of around you. That's not poetry, it's survival of the awakened. Why the spiritually awakened feel it first. Long before the news reports a flare or a tremor, sensitive souls already feel it. They experience sudden headaches, restlessness, emotional spikes, or inexplicable clarity. These are not weaknesses. They are indicators of higher sensitivity. Spiritually awakened individuals are tuned into the subtler frequencies of earth and sky. Their energy fields act like early warning systems, not for fear, but for preparation. Being spiritually awake means your energetic receptors are activated. You process more than physical stimuli. You read the Earth's subtle messages, solar movements, and magnetic shifts, even if you don't understand them logically. This is why starseeds, empaths, and healers often report symptoms before an earthquake hits or a solar storm is detected. They are the canaries in the cosmic coal mine. These sensitivities aren't curses, they're gifts of spiritual service. Those who feel first are being asked to respond first by grounding, meditating, or energetically stabilizing their environment. Their role is to anchor peace when chaos looms, to transmit light when the air grows dense. Their experience is not random, it's relational. The Earth is speaking to them because they're tuned in. So if you've been feeling strange lately, more emotional or more aware, it's not all in your head, it's in your field. You are not broken, you are responsive. And the more spiritually in tune you are, the earlier you'll feel the shift. Not to scare you, but to prepare you. Because when Earth moves, the awakened move first, in stillness, in service, and in strength. Tuning into Earth's crystalline heartbeat. Beneath our feet lies not just soil and rock, but a crystalline matrix that holds the Earth's memory, rhythm, and intention. This crystalline grid is the planet's true heartbeat, and it communicates in a language of vibration and frequency. Just as your own heart guides your physical life, the Earth's crystalline core pulses wisdom, balance, and energy upward into all living things. When seismic activity builds, this crystal network starts to stir. Sensitive individuals may feel it as buzzing feet, dream downloads, or a strong call to nature. Tuning into this heartbeat is not abstract, it's physical and emotional. Walking barefoot, meditating on stones, resting on forest floors. These are acts of alignment. They plug you back into the planet's deeper rhythm, far below the human noise. The crystalline network is also interactive. When you direct prayer, love, or conscious healing into the Earth, it responds. Many ancient ceremonies involved crystals because these stones amplify intention and link human energy with planetary intelligence. In today's world, we don't need more technology. We need more techniques for tuning in. And the Earth's crystal heart is ready to teach. In times of upheaval, the best safety isn't in concrete, it's in connection. When you align with the Earth's crystalline beat, you become an anchor point. Fear dissolves, intuition sharpens, and balance returns. The Earth isn't just a place you live, it's a being you can harmonize with. And when you do, the storms become messages, not threats. The role of dreams before Earth events. Have you ever dreamed of floods, cracks in the ground, or strange lights, only to hear of a natural event days later? You're not alone. Dreams are the soul's sensory system, and they often receive information before the conscious mind does. In the hours or days leading up to major Earth events, many people report prophetic or symbolic dreams. The reason is simple. The Earth speaks in dreams. When planetary pressure builds, energy starts rippling through the subconscious of those tuned in. These dreams may not always be literal. Sometimes they show symbols, like snakes, representing Kundalini energy, collapsing buildings, false foundations, or falling skies, truth descending. These aren't nightmares, they're forecasts from your soul's inner compass, trying to translate frequency into metaphor. Spiritual traditions around the world have always taken dreams seriously, especially before celestial or seismic events. Native elders, Tibetan monks, even Christian mystics documented visions of quakes or firestorms days before they occurred. These weren't magic tricks. They were proof that consciousness is interconnected, and that dream time is a real place of communication beyond linear time. So if you're having vivid or unsettling dreams lately, don't dismiss them. Ask what they're revealing. Journal them. Sit with their message. Because in a world where the ground itself can shift without warning, your dreams may be the only early signal you receive. And the soul never speaks fear. It speaks in symbols, asking you to remember what you already know, the earthquake that shakes inner falsehoods. Every external earthquake has an inner equivalent. Just as the crust shifts beneath cities, the psyche shifts beneath beliefs. When the earth quakes, it exposes cracks, not just in buildings, but in our thinking. False foundations, ego, illusion, denial, cannot hold under that pressure. This is why many people find their lives profoundly changed after major Earth events. The ground breaks, and so do the masks. This shaking is sacred. It doesn't destroy what's real. It destroys what's fake. Earthquakes offer one of the few moments in life where nothing superficial matters anymore. People suddenly see what's truly valuable: life, love, truth. That's the deeper purpose of any shake, not to ruin, but to reveal. And those who embrace that lesson emerge reborn. On a soul level, many are going through inner earthquakes right now. Their beliefs are being challenged, their paths shaken, their hearts cracked open. It's uncomfortable, but it's also holy. These quakes are not breakdowns, they're breakthroughs. If something in your life feels like it's falling apart, ask, what untruth is being shaken loose? And what truth is trying to rise? So don't just prepare for earthquakes by stocking up on supplies. Prepare by letting go of lies. Build your foundation on authenticity, not appearances. Because the next quake may not come from outside, it may come from within. And if you're rooted in truth, you'll rise, not fall.